Welcome to Ida's video channel. In this video, I'll show you how to design pipe network from the horizontal and vertical alignment between two nodes, and I will make it a little bit more difficult. Those nodes will be scour valves and air valves, which I defined at first, but I also want additional nodes 1 meter in front of the, let's say, air valves or scour valves and 1 meter after. And that's because there's a chamber, so I need another 2 nodes there. So I will start with the air valves and scour valves, and I will display high and low points for my profile. So I select profile, I go to edit labels, then I go and I have an option to import label set. And under the label sets, I can either display high and low points, change and elevations. If I click OK, I can click OK, and there are low points, there are high points here, and that's only, where is a high point? Let me go, here is a high point. That's only applicable if there is a vertical curve. If there is no vertical curve, it doesn't show me anything. If you prefer to display a little bit more information, such as low point, high point, curve radius, and maybe slope, you can do that. Let me show you how. Select the profile, go to edit label, then go to import label set, go to the drop down, and there is a one style which says radius, length, PVI, change start, and high low point grade in meters or kilometers. I will use values in meters, then I click OK. So there's definitely more information now. I will make my vertical alignment a little bit cleaner. I don't like the labels, so let me select similar, and then I will delete all of them. I will switch off the line weight so I can see a little bit easier the PVI points. And now I need to insert structures at the PVI points. And if there is a low point, I need a scour valve. If there is a high point, I need a scour valve. And here, this is also a high point, I need a scour valve. I can create or insert those structures in plan, but if I go to plan, I need to display where those high points or grade breaks, we call them grade breaks, where they are. So select alignment, right click, and go to edit alignment labels. And under the tab, there's an option to display profile geometry points. And if I go there, there's an option to specify whether you want a high and low point on the left hand side or right hand side, and whether you want the values in kilometers or meters. So I want them on the left hand side in meters. Then I go add. And here I can specify which profile I want to display values for. I want a VA bulk water, vertical alignment bulk water. There's also an option to specify which geometry points I want to display. I want to display low point, high point, but I also want to display grade breaks. So although the label says just high point, low point, it can be used for anything. In this case, I also use it for the grade breaks. If I click OK, you can see if there is a grade break, it displays the value. What might be practical, let me go to display, I go to view, viewport, 2 viewports, and I will display 2 vertical viewports, and then on the right hand side, I will display profile view. And I'll also go to analyze, and there's an option to use station tracker for all viewports, so I know exactly where I am in a plan and in a profile, which might be a bit easier. And if I see that there must be either air valves or scour valve, I need to add additional node in front of the air valves and after, or before and after. So how to do that? I want them to be 1 meter from the air valve and scour valve. And if I look in the plan, how can I measure? I can draw the line and then add a 1 meter, but it sounds like a little bit too much work. There's a better workflow. I am using the scale 1 in 500. So if I add the circle here with a radius of 4 meters, then it will actually be 1 meter left, 1 meter right. Because in a scale 1 in 1000, if I use a circle with a 2 millimeters diameter, it will be 1 meter left, 1 meter right. And for a scale 1 in 500, I need to multiply it by 2. So I need a circle 4 meters large. To do that, let me select label, and then I go to edit alignment labels. And I will modify this label high point, low point, left side. I click on the edit button, And then there is the option to use edit current selection. Of course, it might be sometimes better to create a copy, but I'm happy to edit current selection. Then under the layout, I will go and add a block. As a block name, if I go to 3-dot button, there is, for example, one which says circle for major station. I think major chainage, that might be a good one. And as a block height, I will use a 4 meters. It is a circle. This is the diameter, and I want the diameter to be 4 meters and half is 2 meters. Okay, okay, okay. And this is the circle. If I measure the distance, let me measure it. It should be 1 meter, and it is 1 meter, so this is exactly what I want. Let me zoom out a bit on the right hand side so I know exactly where I am. And I'm going to create pipe network by layout. If you prefer using ribbon, you can go to ribbon home, and then there is a pipe network creation tools. Again, both commands do the same. I will call the pipe network bulk water. Then as a part list, I will use water. As a surface, I will use the NGL Otara alignment name bulk water. I can add the labels, but I don't need to add them right now. It might take a few seconds because opening network layout toolbar takes a bit more time if the pipe catalog is huge. As a structure, I will use a junction now for all of them. So let me use a junction for all of them. Then as a pipe, I will use Acutech SDR11PN16160, for example, and I will design pipe and structures. So if I go to very first one, so I will click here, there, and there. So these are my new structures with the pipes. Unfortunately, I can't see pipes. So what I will do temporarily, I will modify those structures. I will make them a little bit smaller. I go to edit structure style, and then in a plan direction, I will make them, let's say, 0.5 millimeters. Of course, for the final plot, it would be way too small, but for this exercise, it is much easier. Then I go next one. Next one is a air valve. So let me design pipes and structures, and again I will just design it like this. Then I go to next one. If I see here there's a grate break, but I don't need to add air valve or scour valve, so I will create structure only because I want a structure there like this. Then I go next one. Let me go in here. There's a low point. There is definitely need for a scour valve, so I will use a pipes and structures. Let me do it like this. Then I'll go to next one, and it says high point, so I will use a pipes and structures like this. And now I will do a few more. I'll probably don't do all of them, just few. So the important is a workflow. So here again, there is no need for the air valve or scour valve. So I will use a structure only. So I will insert it here. So for now, this is sufficient. And let me just minimize this left window a bit. And I'm going back to my profile. I see nothing in a profile. So maybe I should project at least one pipe or structure. So I select any pipe, and then I go to draw parts in profile, and I select the profile view. It's here, you can see it here. Now I can go to profile view properties, and I can select all the parts, but there might be an easier option, which I will use later in this workflow. Let me go to IDAS, and I go to command clean up. Let me do that. I can select the network. I want to use a bulk water, and I can select the profile. This is the only profile I have, and I click OK. And what it does, it projects the parts from the network into profile view, which is much easier than doing it manually through the profile view properties. Now I want to adjust those parts, and I want them to follow the vertical alignment. So I go to pipe design utilities and match parts to profile. Let me do that. I can select the network, I can select the alignment, the vertical alignment. I want to match with the outside top. Maximum distance from alignment. In some cases, what might happen that you don't snap exactly on the alignment with your structures. And if they are a little bit too far from the alignment, they won't be adjusted. And I want to adjust the entire network, then I click OK. And if I zoom in closer, everything looks perfect. If the structure doesn't have any pipes connected, which might be at some places, like here, then it won't be adjusted. It needs to have some pipes. What I need to do as well, I need to swap those structures to air valves and scour valves. I will use the IDOS command, swap structures to air valves and scour valves. This command also works only on the structures that do have a pipes connected. If they don't have, it won't work. So again, I can select the bulk water pipeline, the entire network, the structure style for air valve, and structure style for scour valve. Then I click OK. And you can see that this is a new structure and it is a air valve, or there's a scour valve here. I have a video about if you prefer scour valve to be displayed here at the bottom. I have a video how to do that. But for now, let me continue. And I'm ready to design network between two nodes. I need a start point as well, which I don't have. I was supposed to add it in a plan. So let me do it. So I'll select any part in plan or in profile, and I can go to edit network. And then for the start structure, I will use a junction for now, but later on I will swap it to tank or reservoir, whatever it needs to be. So as a structure, I use a junction. Then as a structure only option, which will be probably the most suitable, and I should add one at the end as well. I should add some more because I didn't finish the entire design, but for now this is sufficient. Let me move it a bit. And again, I don't see that structure in a profile view, so I will use the same command like I used before to clean up profile views, and I just click OK and it appears in a profile view. And I'm going to use the command that says create parts along route. Let me use that option. And I select the network I want to work with. There's a part list. I select the structure that I want to create along. I select the pipe type, HDPE SDR11P and 16160 diameter. Then I will only connect if the distance between the start structure and my selected point is less than 0.1 meter. As an alignment, I will use a bulk water. As a start station, I can either specify the start station or I can select the structure. And here in the command line, you can select structure and snap to the structure, and it gives you the chainage. And I will do the same for the end. And again, I will use the same. I will select S for structure and I will select the structure. I can split pipes at interval. I will use 12 meters. As a profile, I will use a vertical alignment for the bulk water. I want no offset from the profile and I want to use the outside top. Then I click OK. Seems like nothing happened, but if I go to plan, you can see that new pipes were created from the beginning to the first node. And I would like to see those objects in a profile view. I can use the same command like always, clean up, OK. And since I have only one profile, it displays. And I can go next one. So let me go to next one. Again, I go to create parts along the route. It remembers the last setting. So I go straight to select the start structure. I press S and I select this structure. Then I select end structure. I press S and I select the end structure. Then I click OK. And again, those parts are created in plan. We are planning to automatically project those pipes to profile view. That's on our to-do list, but currently you need to run this command every time. And it creates another portion. And I specify the maximum distance or length to be 12 meters. So if I measured, this length is of course horizontal projection. So if I measure this distance, the delta X must be 12 meters, which it is exactly. So that's how it is designed. So I have a pipes every 12 meters and then I have a remaining part. Like here you have a remaining part. And again, let's say I want a structure between here and the next node. So I'm going to use create paths along the route. Then again, I will select the structure. This is the start structure. Then I will select the end structure. This is the end structure. And then I click OK. And I will use the command. It remembers the last command. So I just click and it's like that. So this is the way to continue. I will do one more to show you what happens at the vertical curve. So let me do that. And again, start structure and end structure. Let me come in here, end structure, OK, and clean up profile view, OK. So you can see that those paths do follow vertical curve, but again, they're not vertically curved. And this is the way to create the entire vertical alignment. I would like to mention one important note about the performance, like I mentioned in another video regarding how to create the pipe network from the horizontal and vertical alignment. And that's about the performance, because if you have many pipes, let's say over 100 pipes in the profile view, suddenly the editing vertical alignment will become a little bit slow, like it will take few seconds to modify vertical alignment. So that's why we suggest, if you have such a project, then create your horizontal and vertical alignment in one drawing, and then with the data shortcuts, reference it to a new drawing, and then create pipe network in a new drawing, in a destination drawing. In that case, you keep your design drawing where you adjust your vertical alignment very small. And later on, if you want to do the adjustments to pipe network, it is easier to modify the vertical alignment. And then you can use command in a destination drawing where you can match parts to profile, and you can adjust your pipe network vertically. So in this case, the performance will be much better.